So, how many hours are there in a day?
12.
No, there are 24.
That is correct, Shelby.
Then how come there are only 12 numbers on a clock?
Excellent question, Jaden. To cram 24 numbers onto a clock face, the numbers would have to be much smaller and harder to read from a distance.
Did you see that?
We want to be able to look at a clock from across the room and tell what time it is. So we only use 12 numbers.
Unbelievable.
Just go with it, bro.
Wait. 12 numbers only covers 12 hours. What about the other 12?
We use 12 numbers for the first half of the day starting at 12 midnight and going until 12 noon. Then, we simply use them again for the second half of the day, from 12 noon to 12 midnight.
Whoa.
That was really cool.
Yeah, that was dope.
Seriously? Now, you notice?
Any questions so far? Yes, Jaden?
So if I'm just looking an analog clock, how am I supposed to know whether it's showing the first 12 hours or the second 12 hours?
Well, most people know whether it is morning or afternoon, right?
You obviously don't play Fortnite.
Well, perhaps if you are playing video games for an entire weekend, you would need a digital clock to tell you whether it is day or night. But when you are here at school, lunchtime is at 12:02. And you generally know whether it is before or after lunch.
Okay, that's true.
Moving on. Analog clocks have two hands. A big hand and a little hand.
Actually, they have 3 hands. You forgot the long, skinny, red hand that moves around the clock really fast.
Yes. Thank you, Jaden. Some analog clocks do have a third hand that moves really fast. But as you can see, our clock doesn't have one of those.
Why not?
Because when people look at a clock to find out what time it is, they aren't usually interested in knowing the exact second of every minute. Which is what the long skinny hand shows. In fact, usually, they aren't even interested in knowing the exact minute. Which is why we are just going to focus on the 5-minute interval?
But doesn't that mean I can only read the clock every 5 minutes?
No. You can read the clock anytime you want. But instead of trying to determine the exact minute, you round to the nearest 5-minute mark.
Okay, how do I do that?
I'll show you. But we have gotten a little too far ahead of ourselves. Let me back up and finish explaining about the big hand and little hand. And then I'll show you how to use them.